The wrench slipped from my sweat-slicked fingers and clattered into the sink's rusty drain, echoing like a gunshot in the quiet kitchen. But it was his eyes, those piercing green eyes, that truly pinned me in place, stripping away every layer of armor I'd built around my secrets. I'd come here expecting a quick job, another leaky faucet in some stranger's beachside rental. But as Ethan leaned against the counter, his sweater hugging the lean lines of his body, I felt the world tilt, my pulse thundering with a truth I'd buried deeper than any pipe. In that split second, with the salt air from the open window tangling in my hair, I knew this wasn't just about fixing his sink anymore. It was about mending something broken in me, something that had been leaking for years. I wiped my hands on my jeans, forcing a grin that felt too tight on my face. Sorry about that, man. These old houses, they fight back. My voice came out rougher than I meant, laced with the faint accent of my abuela stories from back in Mexico City, even though I'd been born and raised in this sun-bleached corner of California. Ethan chuckled, low and warm, like the rumble of waves I'd heard crashing outside when I pulled up in my beat-up Ford truck. He was taller than I'd pictured from the phone call, with that kind of effortless grace that made my stomach twist in ways it shouldn't. 35, he'd said, but he carried it like someone who'd seen too many storms and come out sharper for it. No worries, Javier. Take your time. I've got all evening. He pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose, his fingers lingering there a beat too long, and I caught the faint scar running along his knuckle, old, faded, like a memory he didn't talk about. The kitchen was a cozy mess of mismatched mugs on open shelves and stacks of dog-eared notebooks spilling over the table, smelling of fresh coffee and sea salt. Outside, the Pacific stretched endless under the October sky, the kind of view that made you forget the grind of bills and lonely nights in my cramped apartment above the auto shop. But right now, all I could focus on was how his gaze held mine, steady and searching, like he saw right through the grease stains on my shirt to the guy who'd spent 28 years pretending he was straight as the horizon line. There, I said, straightening up and wiping my brow with the back of my arm. The sink gleamed innocently now, water running clear and strong. Should hold you for years. Unless you start pouring motor oil down it. I flashed that grin again, the one that usually sealed the deal with a laugh and a check. Ethan stepped closer, peering into the basin as if it held some profound secret, his shoulder brushing mine just enough to send a jolt straight to my core. You're a miracle worker, Javier. How much do I owe you? His voice was soft, thoughtful, with a hint of East Coast polish that didn't quite match the faded Levi's hugging his hips. He pulled out his wallet from the back pocket, but his eyes never left my face, and damn if that didn't make my throat go dry. $50 even. Cash or Venmo, your call. I shifted my weight, toolbox heavy in my grip, like an anchor, keeping me from drifting too close. But he didn't hand over the money right away. Instead, he tilted his head, studying me with that quiet intensity that made me feel exposed, raw. I wasn't expecting this. He gestured vaguely at the sink, but his words hung heavier, laced with something unspoken. Most guys just grunt and go. You actually talk to the pipes like they're old friends. Heat crept up my neck, and I laughed it off, rubbing the back of my head. Gotta respect the bones of a house, right? They hold up lives. It was a line I'd use 100 times, but saying it to him felt different, like I was talking about more than plumbing. The sun had dipped lower outside, painting the room in hues of amber and rose, and for a reckless second, I imagined staying, cracking open one of those notebooks, hearing whatever stories he poured into them. He nodded, finally sliding the bills across the counter, his fingers grazing mine in the exchange. Electric. Undeniable. Well, if you ever need a story in return, I've got plenty. Writer's curse. His smile was tentative, edges frayed like the hem of his sweater, and I caught a flicker of something in his eyes. Loneliness, maybe, or the ghost of old hurts. I pocketed the cash, heart hammering. Maybe next time the sink acts up. But as I turned for the door, the words tumbled out before I could stop them. Or, hell, if you want company for that sunset. I mean, no pressure. Just, it's a hell of a view from here. He froze. Then his face softened, that scar on his knuckle widening as he clenched his fist briefly. I'd like that, Javier. Really? And just like that, the hook was set. I stepped out onto the porch, the salt wind whipping my hair, but I didn't head for my truck. Not yet. Because in those 3 sentences we'd traded, something had cracked open in me. A door I'd nailed shut years ago, back when my first crush on Tommy Ramirez in high school had me punching walls and swearing off feelings altogether. Ethan watched me from the doorway, arms crossed loose over his chest, and as the waves whispered their eternal secrets below, I realized this fix wasn't done. Not by a long shot. We ended up on the porch swing that overlooked the beach, the kind of rickety wooden thing that creaked under our weight like it was sharing in the awkwardness. Ethan had grabbed 2 beers from the fridge, cold, local craft ones with labels featuring crashing waves, and handed me one with a nod that felt like permission. The sun was a bloated orange ball now, sinking toward the horizon, turning the sky into a canvas of fire and bruised purple clouds. Seagulls wheeled lazy circles overhead, their cries sharp against the rhythmic crash of surf. "So, what's a guy like you doing in a town like this?" I asked, popping the cap and taking a swig to steady my nerves. The beer was crisp, bitter on my tongue, grounding me as I swung my legs out, boots scuffing the salt-flecked boards. Ethan leaned back, the swings swaying gently, his knee inches from mine. "Escaping mostly. New York got too loud, deadlines, crowds, the whole grind. Bought this place on a whim last spring. Thought the ocean would fix me." He paused, staring out at the water, his profile sharp against the dying light. There was a weight to his words, a shadow that made my chest tighten. "What about you? Born and bred Californian?" I nodded, tracing the condensation on the bottle with my thumb. "Yeah, right here in Pacific Grove. Family from Jalisco originally, but Dad set up the plumbing business when I was a kid. It's steady work. Keeps the lights on." I didn't mention how it also kept me numb, days blending into nights of TV reruns and takeout, avoiding the mirror where my own eyes accused me of cowardice, or the family dinners where Abuela's rosary beads clicked like a metronome, reminding me of sins unspoken. The silence stretched, comfortable but edged with curiosity. Ethan turned to me, his green eyes catching the last rays like sea glass. "You ever feel like you're fixing everyone else's leaks but your own?" The question hit like a rogue wave, stealing my breath. I met his gaze, and there it was again, that pull, magnetic and terrifying. Every damn day, I admitted, voice low. My heart thudded against my ribs, a drumbeat urging me forward or back. I couldn't tell which. He smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Me too. This house. It's full of them." The sink was just the latest. His hand rested on the swing chain, knuckles brushing mine accidentally, or was it? The touch lingered, warm and deliberate, sending sparks up my arm. I didn't pull away. Neither did he. We talked then, words spilling like the tide, about his latest manuscript, a novel about lost loves in fog-shrouded lighthouses, about my failed attempt at community college, derailed by Dad's heart attack and the bills that followed. Laughter wove in, easy and real. When he confessed to burning toast that morning and me sharing the story of the time I flooded a client's bathroom, trying to impress a date who turned out to be married. But beneath it, currents ran deep. His voice cracked once, mentioning a brother who'd cut ties years ago over irreconcilable differences, and I found myself telling him about the 4th of July barbecue, where I'd watched Tommy from across the yard, fireworks bursting like the ache in my chest. As the sun vanished, stars pricking the velvet sky, Ethan stood, stretching with a yawn that belied the tension in his shoulders. "Thanks for staying, Javier. It's been a while since I had company that didn't feel like an obligation." I rose too, closer than I meant, the porch light casting our shadows long and intertwined. "Anytime. Seriously." Our eyes locked, and the air hummed with possibility, the kind that could drown a man or save him. He reached out, hand hovering near my arm, then dropping. "Good night, then." "Good night." But as I climbed into my truck, engine rumbling to life, I glanced back. He was still there, framed in the doorway, a silhouette against the warm glow inside. And in that moment, with the ocean sighing approval, I knew I'd be back. Not for the sink. For him. For whatever this was cracking open in my soul. The next morning dawned gray and restless, fog rolling in thick from the bay like a shroud over my thoughts. I woke in my apartment, sheets tangled around me, the dream of Ethan's hand on my skin lingering like salt on my lips. Coffee burned my tongue as I stared at the cracked ceiling, replaying every glance, every brush of fingers. What the hell was I doing? I was Javier Ruiz, reliable, straight-laced, the guy who fixed things and kept his head down. Not the fool chasing sparks with a stranger who wrote stories about heartbreaks I could only imagine. But the pull was there, insistent as the tide, and by noon, I found myself driving back to his beach house, toolbox in the passenger seat like a flimsy excuse. The fog muffled the world, turning the coastal highway into a dreamscape of blurred taillights and phantom shapes. Pacific Grove streets wound past cypress trees bent like old men against the wind, their needles whispering warnings I ignored. He answered the door in a rumpled t-shirt and sweatpants, hair sleep-tousled, surprise lighting his face. "Javier, everything okay with the sink?" I held up a rag I'd forgotten yesterday, feeling like an idiot. "Yeah, just left this. Figured I'd drop it off." Lame. So lame. But he stepped aside, gesturing me in with that easy warmth that undid me. Come on, then. Coffee's fresh. And I got a confession. The damn thing's leaking again. Or maybe I'm just cursed. We laughed, the sound chasing the fog from the room, and soon I was under the sink once more, flashlight beam cutting through the dimness while he sat cross-legged on the floor nearby, handing me tools with murmured questions. So what's the verdict, Doc? Ghost in the pipes, I quipped, emerging with a smirk. Our faces were inches apart, his breath mingling with mine, carrying the scent of mint and manuscript ink. Time stretched, taut as a bowstring. Then, without warning, his hand cupped my cheek, gentle questioning. Javier, The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, lips tentative like testing the water's edge. Then deeper, hungry, his fingers threading through my hair as I pulled him closer, the world narrowing to the heat of his mouth, the press of his body against mine on the cool tile floor. It was fire and flood, years of denial crashing over me in waves. I tasted salt, tears, sweat, and didn't care, lost in the revelation of him, of us. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together, his eyes dark with wonder and fear. I've wanted that since you walked in yesterday, he whispered, voice ragged. Me too, I breathed, the admission freeing something caged inside. God, Ethan, me too. But joy is a fragile thing on rocky shores. And, as we tangled there, oblivious to the clock, my phone buzzed insistently from my pocket. I ignored it first, but the vibration persisted, pulling me back. Dad's name flashed on the screen, and guilt twisted like a wrench in my gut. I have to take this, I said, sitting up, Ethan's hand slipping from my waist. Go ahead, he smiled, but it was shadowed, as if he sensed the storm brewing. Dad's voice boomed through the line, thick with worry. Javi, where you at? Storm's coming in hard. Winds up to 60. Shop's flooding, and I need you here. Family first, Mijo. The call ended with instructions barked like orders, and I stared at Ethan, the afterglow souring. Duty calls. Big Northern Brewing. He nodded, masking disappointment with a nod. Be safe. Text me when you get home. Promise. I kissed him quick, fierce, then bolted into the fog, trucks slicing through curtains of mist. The coastal road twisted treacherous, wipers slapping futilely against the onslaught. Rain hammered the roof like accusations. What are you doing, Javier? Throwing away everything for a feeling? By the time I reached the shop in Monterey, water pooled ankle deep, Dad silhouetted against the garage lights like a sentinel. About time, he grunted, tossing me a mop. This place won't fix itself. We worked in silence, bailing and boarding, the storm howling its fury. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating his lined face, and memories flooded me. Him teaching me to solder pipes at 12, his calloused hands over mine, steady as the earth. He'd given everything for me, for Mom, for the life we'd scraped together after crossing the border. How could I risk it all on this? Midnight found us slumped in the office, drenched and exhausted, sharing a thermos of reheated coffee. You okay, son? Look like you've seen a ghost. I hesitated, the words burning my throat. Just thinking about changes. Big ones. He eyed me sharp, then clapped my shoulder. Life's full of leaks, Javi. Fix what you can, patch the rest. But don't let fear drown you. His words echoed as I drove home through easing rain, the bay a black mirror under stars peeking through. I texted Ethan, safe. Miss you already. His reply, doors open if you want to come back. Temptation warred with caution, but I turned toward Pacific Grove, the road calling me home, to him. The days blurred into a rhythm both exhilarating and edged with peril, our stolen moments weaving a tapestry of secret touches and whispered confessions amid the everyday grind. Mornings, I'd wake to Ethan's texts, snippets of poetry about dawn light on waves, making my commute to the shop feel like foreplay. Afternoons, I'd sneak away for house calls, his beach house becoming our sanctuary where the world outside faded to irrelevance. One such afternoon, 2 weeks in, found us on the dunes behind his place, sand warm under a rare clear sky, the ocean a turquoise expanse mocking my churning doubts. We'd hiked up with a blanket and sandwiches, his ham and brie on sourdough, my tacos for the truck stop, sprawled like teenagers evading curfew. Ethan lay on his side, propped on an elbow, tracing lazy patterns on my arm with his fingertip, his touch igniting trails of fire. Tell me something real, he murmured, eyes half-lidded against the sun. Something no one's heard. I stared at the gulls diving for fish, their cries a distant chorus. Vulnerability clawed at me, but his gaze coaxed it out. I used to dream about leaving, sailing down the coast in a boat Dad and I would build, free from expectations. But I stayed. For him. For the business. For the lie that it's enough. He nodded, understanding blooming in his expression. I get that. My family's back east. Old money, old rules. When I came out in college, it was like dropping a bomb. Brother called me a phase. Mom sent pamphlets on therapy. Dad just disappeared from the conversations. His voice cracked, and he looked away, jaw tight. That's why the book. Fiction's is safer than truth sometimes. The scar on his knuckle caught my eye again, and I covered his hand with mine. What happened there? He flexed it, a ghost of smile. Bar fight in Brooklyn. Ex-boyfriend's idea of closure. Turns out, love doesn't always rhyme with happy endings. We kissed thin, slow, and deep, salt and sand on our lips, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. His hands roamed under my shirt, mapping the ridges of muscle from years of labor, and I lost myself in the arch of his back, the hitch in his breath. It was more than lust. It was affirmation, a quiet rebellion against the scripts we'd been handed. But paradise has its serpents, and mine slithered in that evening as I returned to the shop, grease under my nails from a transmission job. Dad was waiting, arms crossed, a letter in his fist. This came for you. From that writer fella. My blood ran cold. Ethan must have sent a thank you note or something innocuous, but in Dad's grip, it looked like evidence. It's nothing, just a client. He thrust it at me, eyes narrowing. Clients don't write like that. Grateful for the mending. Sound familiar? His tone was probing, laced with the unspoken fear every immigrant parent harbors, the unraveling of the American dream they'd bled for. I snatched the envelope, pulse roaring. Drop it, Dad. It's work. He sighed, heavy with unspoken words. Just be careful, Mijo. This life's hard enough without complications. That night, alone in my apartment, I tore open the letter. Ethan's scrawl filled the page. Musings on pipes as metaphors for hearts. An invitation to read his manuscript. And at the bottom, in bold, I think I'm falling for you, Javier. Scared? Terrified, I replied, but hit send anyway. Me too. Let's be scared together. Our first real date was a risk wrapped in whimsy. A sunset cruise from Monterey Harbor, the kind tourists paid out the nose for, but felt like ours alone. Ethan had booked it, surprising me after a shift that left me smelling of oil and optimism. We boarded the sloop as the sun dipped low, sails billowing like promises, the crew a discreet duo who vanished below deck with knowing winks. The bay was a mirror of molten gold, seals barking from the rocks, and as the boat cut through the water, Ethan pulled me to the bow, wind whipping our clothes. To new beginnings, he toasted with champagne flutes, clinking mine with a grin that lit his whole face. To not sinking, I countered, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of bubbles and brine. We laughed into it, bodies swaying with the boat's roll, hands exploring freely now, his in my hair, mine at his waist, drawing him flush against me. The world shrank to this. Him, the sea, the vastness of possibility. Dinner was candlelit on deck, seared scallops and stories, his voice weaving tales of New York winters and the novel that had almost broken him. I shared fragments of my own. Abuela's lullabies, the sting of high school lockers slamming on crushes, unspoken. Vulnerability flowed like the wine, binding us tighter. But as stars wheeled overhead, a squall line darkened the horizon, thunder grumbling like a warning. The crew scrambled, but Ethan and I lingered, wrapped in a throw blanket, his head on my shoulder. What if this is it? He whispered. The real thing. Then we weather it, I said, meaning every word, even as fear gnawed at the edges. The storm hit full force on the return, rain lashing like judgment, waves tossing the boat like a toy. Lightning forked the sky, illuminating Ethan's face, pale but determined, gripping my hand as salt water soaked us through. Hold on, I shouted over the gale, pulling him below to the cabin where the world rocked wildly. Huddled on the bunk, drenched and shivering, we clung together, laughter bubbling up amid the chaos. This is insane, he gasped, teeth chattering. Welcome to my life, I replied, kissing his forehead, his nose, his lips, sealing us against the tempest. We made harbor sodden but whole, the crew clapping our backs with tales of worse. Dropping Ethan at his door, I lingered in the truck, rain pattering the roof like applause. See you tomorrow? Count on it. His kiss through the window was fierce avowal. Driving home, euphoria warred with dread. Dad's letter haunted me, and I knew the squall wasn't over. Not the one at sea, nor the one brewing in my blood family. The fracture came swift as a snapped pipe, gushing truth I couldn't contain. It was a Saturday, the shop slow under a relentless sun that baked the asphalt to shimmer. I promised Ethan a full day, Picnic on the peninsula, no excuses, and was elbow deep in a radiator when Dad burst in, face thunderous, clutching his phone. Javier Ruiz, what the hell is this? He shoved the screen at me. A photo, grainy but unmistakable. Me and Ethan on the dunes, mid-kiss, arms entangled. Someone from town must have snapped it, the coastal grapevine twisting it into gossip fodder. My stomach plummeted. Dad, it's... Don't, he cut in, voice cracking like dry earth. I raise you better. This ain't us. What about the family? Abuela? The business. His eyes, usually so steady, brimmed with betrayal, the weight of generations pressing down. I didn't choose this. I shot back, wrench clattering to the floor. It chose me. Him. And I love him, Dad. Like you love Mom. Fierce, no regrets. He recoiled as if slapped. The shop's fluorescent buzzed the only sound. Love? This'll ruin you. Ruin us. Folks talk, Javi. Jobs dry up. Hearts break. The words hung heavy, a chasm opening between us. I grabbed my keys, storming out into the blaze, truck tires squealing as I fled to Ethan's, the one place that felt like solid ground. He opened the door mid-laugh, picnic basket in hand, but sobered at my face. Javi, what happened? I collapsed into his arms, the story spilling out in sobs and curses, his embrace the only anchor. He saw the photo. It's over, everything. Ethan held me tight, rocking us on the threshold. It's not over. Not us. But doubt flickered in his eyes, mirrors to my own. We drove anyway. The peninsula's cypress groves a green blur, stopping at a secluded overlook where the ocean dropped sheer to jagged rocks below. The picnic spread untouched, cheese, grapes, bread, as we sat on the blanket, knees touching, silence thick with unsaid fears. He'll come around, Ethan said finally, voice soft. Or he won't. But you can't live for him. Not anymore. I nodded, tears hot on my cheeks. What if I lose it all? Then we build new. He cupped my face, thumb brushing a tear. Together. The kiss that followed was desperate, a lifeline, lips bruising, hands clutching as if to merge souls. We made love there under the cypresses, slow and sacred, bodies speaking what words couldn't. I choose you. Amidst the rustle of leaves and distant surf, release came in waves, binding us deeper than fear could sever. But as dusk fell, my phone lit with Dad's text. We need to talk. Home. Now. Dread coiled, but Ethan's hand in mine steadied me. Go. I'll be here. The drive back was a gauntlet, every mile a milepost to reckoning. Dad waited on the porch, Abuela's old rocker creaking under him, a beer sweating in his fist. Mom hovered in the doorway, rosary beads clicking. Sit, he said, voice gruff but not angry. I did, the swing groaning protest. We talked, raw, halting, me laying bare the ache of hidden years, him admitting his own ghosts. A cousin lost to AIDS in the 80s, whispers of don't ask, don't tell in his army days. I was scared for you, Mijo. Scared I'd fail you like they failed him. Tears carved channels down his weathered cheeks. If he makes you happy, that's the fix we all need. Relief crashed over me, sobs racking as we embraced, Mom joining in a huddle of forgiveness. It wasn't perfect, questions lingered, judgments to unpack, but the leak was patched, pressure easing. I texted Ethan, it's okay. We're okay. His reply, proud of you. Come home. And, as stars pricked the sky, I did, to the man who'd changed everything, to the life we'd mend together, one honest turn at a time. Months wove us tighter, threads of routine and revelation stitching a new normal. Ethan's manuscript found a publisher, pages alive with our stories' echoes, loves that weathered storms, hearts that plumbed depths uncharted. I took over more at the shop, Dad stepping back with a gruff pride, his nods at family dinners now, including Ethan's name, without flinching. Yet shadows lingered, as they do in tales worth telling. Ethan's brother surfaced one crisp November afternoon, arriving unannounced at the beach house like a gale from the Atlantic. Tall, buttoned up in a wool coat that screamed Manhattan, he stood on the porch, briefcase in hand, eyes hard as the frost nipping the air. Ethan, he said, voice clipped, ignoring me entirely as I answered the door. We need to talk. Family business. Ethan appeared behind me, face paling but resolute. Mark, this is Javier, my partner. The word hung, a gauntlet thrown. Mark's gaze flicked to me, assessing, dismissive, before settling on his brother. Partner, right? Look, the will's being read next month. Dad's estate, it's complicated. Mom's asking you come back, make nice. Ethan's laugh was bitter, wind-tossed. Make nice? After the pamphlets and the silence? Pass. Mark shifted, discomfort cracking his facade. He's dying, cancer. Wants reconciliation. The revelation landed like a rogue wave, knocking the breath from us both. Ethan staggered back, hand finding mine instinctively. I squeezed, silent support amid the unraveling. Inside, over cooling tea, truths poured out. Mark's regrets, the family's fractures widened by prejudice and pride. I was wrong, he admitted, voice thick. About you. About this. A nod to our joined hands. It wasn't absolution, not yet, but a door cracked. Enough for Ethan to book flights east, me beside him, our first trip as a unit. New York was a whirlwind of steel and snow, subways rumbling like unmet desires. Ethan's childhood brownstone, a mausoleum of memories. The reading was formal, lawyers' droning clauses, Mom's eyes red-rimmed behind designer shades. Dad, frail in his bed, machines beeping dirges, reached for Ethan's hand, whispering apologies that dissolved in coughs. Forgive, he rasped. Ethan knelt, tears carving paths. Duh. We all do. In a cab back to the hotel, Ethan broke, sobs muffled in my shoulder, grief a floodgate burst. I held him through the night, our bodies a bastion against loss, love's rhythm a lullaby against the city's roar. Back in California, spring bloomed defiant, wildflowers carpeting the dunes like confetti. We adopted a rescue mutt, scruffy terrier mix named Salty, who bounded into our lives with the same reckless joy we'd found in each other. Wedding talks surfaced tentative, rings glinting in shop windows. Dad's blessing a quiet whenever you're ready, me Joe. One evening, as Salty chased waves and Ethan sketched in his notebook, I dropped to one knee in the surf's edge, ring box salt-crusted from my pocket. Ethan Hale, you fixed me when I thought I was the fixer. Marry me? His eyes, green as sea glass, swelled. Yes. 1,000 times yes. We kissed amid the foam, Salty yipping approval, the ocean applauding eternal. Years later, vows exchanged under cypress arches, family mingled, Dad toasting with tears, Mark visiting with niece in tow. I look back on that leaky sink and marvel. It wasn't the pipes that changed. It was us, cracks sealed not by denial, but by daring to let love flow free. And in every storm since, we'd hold fast, mended forever. The salt-stung air of that first evening clung to my skin long after I drove away from Ethan's beach house, the taillights of my truck carving red streaks through the twilight like blood from a fresh wound. My hands gripped the wheel white-knuckled, mind replaying the swing's creak, the brush of his knee, the way his laughter had wrapped around me warmer than any blanket. What the hell had I just done? Stepped into a current that could sweep me under, or finally let it carry me home? The radio crackled with some old Springsteen tune about thunder roads, but it was Ethan's voice echoing in my head. I'd like that, Javier. That drowned it out. Back in my apartment, the place felt smaller, walls pressing in with their peeling paint, and the hum of the fridge like accusatory whispers. I stripped off my shirt, stared at the mirror's unforgiving glare, broad shoulders from hauling copper lines, ink of a family crest tattooed over my heart, Abuela's gift for my 18th, a reminder of roots that now felt like chains. The man staring back had secrets in his eyes, one's eye buried under layers of grease and good old boy grins. Tommy Ramirez's ghost flickered there, that summer night behind the bleachers where a fumbled kiss had sent me running, vowing silence forever. Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with waves and green eyes, waking me to dawn's gray smear. Coffee scalded as I scrolled my phone. No message from him, just the shop's schedule glaring, back-to-back calls, Dad's truck needing tires. Routine, the great eraser. But as I loaded tools into the Ford, resolve hardened like solder. I'd text him, casual, keep the door ajar without flinging it wide. Hey, sink holding? Great view last night. Gee. Sent. Heart of my throat. The drive to the first job. A busted heater in Seaside. Wound through fog-shrouded pines. Radio news droning about coastal erosion. Lives slipping away bit by bit. My phone buzzed midway, his reply lighting the cab like sunrise. Holding steady. Views better with company. Dinner sometime? Fingers trembled as I typed. Tonight? My treat. Tacos from Roses. Perfect. 7. Done. The day blurred, cursing at a seized bolt, charming a harried mom with promises of hot showers by noon, sweat tracing paths down my spine. But under it all, anticipation thrummed, a low buzz like the shop's fluorescent lights, promising spark or short circuit. Evening found me scrubbed clean, cologne a rare concession, pulling up to his place as the sun bled orange into the sea. He waited on the porch, jeans faded soft, button-down open at the collar revealing a chain with a small silver anchor, subtle, like him. "You clean up nice, plumber." Flattery gets you extra salsa. I grinned, handing over the bag from Rose's, steam curling aromatic. Carne asada, fresh tortillas, lime wedges bright as hope. We ate on the deck, plates balanced on knees, salty. No, wait, that was later. For now, just us and the Gulls' evening chorus. Conversation flowed easy. His stalled chapter on a lighthouse keeper's forbidden love. My tale of the client whose cat had clawed my arm during a toilet install. Laughter bridged the gaps, but pauses deepened, eyes lingering. "You ever think about what if?" he asked, wiping his mouth, gaze on the horizon where stars began their prick. What if what? But I knew, the air thickening. What if we'd met sooner? Or never? The question hung, vulnerable as exposed wiring. I set my plate aside, turning to him. Sooner. And I've been too scared to stay. Never. Can't think it. My hand found his tentative bridge. "This feels right, Ethan. Scary right." He squeezed, thumb stroking my knuckle, that scar a braille of past pains. "Yeah, it does." Dusk deepened to indigo, and as crickets tuned up, he leaned in, slow, giving me space to pull away. I didn't. Our lips met soft, exploratory, his tasting of lime and possibility. Fireworks silent but spectacular, my hand cupping his jaw, stubble rasping gentle. When we parted, breaths mingling, his whisper feathered my skin. "Stay?" I did. The night unfolded in whispers and wonders, his bed a tangle of sheets and stories, bodies learning rhythms like a new dance. Dawn found us entwined, his head on my chest, heartbeat syncing with the distant surf. But mornings bring clarity, and with it, the crash. My phone vibrated insistent. "Dad, where are you?" "Emergency call in Carmel." "Move." Guilt twisted as I slipped from bed, Ethan stirring with a sleepy murmur. "Go. I'll be here." Dressed in haste, I kissed his forehead, fleeing into the light like a thief. The emergency was mundane, a flooded basement, but Dad's eyes sharpened on my rumpled shirt, the hickey blooming faint on my neck. "Rough night. Long one. Evasion, my old friend." He grunted, handing me a flashlight, but the seed was planted, doubt in his glance, fear in mine. That week, secrecy became our shadow, text coded casual, rendezvous snatched in stolen hours. A matinee in Monterey, hands linked in the dark during a rom-com that hit too close. A hike in Point Lobos, trails winding like our thoughts, kisses hidden in fern hollows. Each moment a jewel, but the chain of lies chafed, wearing grooves in my soul. Then, the nor'easter brewed, literal and figurative. News warned of swells and outages, but the real gale was internal. Dad cornered me in the shop's office, ledger open, voice low thunder. "You distracted, Javi. Sloppy work on that valve yesterday," client complained. "What's eating you?" "Nothing," I lied, tools clinking evasion. "Bull. Spill. Pressure built, valve ready to blow. It's personal. A guy. I'm seeing someone." His face hardened, then softened fractionally. "Girl troubles?" "Plenty of fish." "No, doth. A guy." "Ethan." Silence stretched, vast as the Pacific. His chair creaked as he leaned back, eyes searching mine like schematics for flaws. "That the writer?" I nodded, braced for deluge. He exhaled slow, rubbing his chin, gesture from my boyhood fixes. "He treat you right?" "Yeah, better than right." Another pause, then, "Bring him around. Sunday dinner. Your mother's tamales wait for no man." Shock rippled, relief tentative. "You sure?" "Family's family, me Joe, even if it bends the rules." I texted Ethan mid-afternoon, heart soaring, dinner with the folks. "Sunday. You in?" His reply, terrified, but yes. Sunday dawned crisp, eucalyptus scent sharp, nerves jangling as I picked him up. Ethan fidgeted in the passenger seat, tie loosened, bouquet of wildflowers clutched like a shield. What if they hate me? They won't. Dad's gruff, mom's a hugger. Abuela, pray. The house buzzed, aromas of cilantro and masa, laughter from the kitchen. Dad clapped Ethan's shoulder firm. Mom enveloped him in spice-scented embrace, Abuela eyeing him over her glasses before nodding approval. His kind eyes, Nieto. Dinner unfolded tentative, then warm. Tales of my toddler tantrums, Ethan's city mishaps drawing chuckles. Wine loosened tongues, and as plates cleared, Dad raised his glass. To Javier, for fixing more than pipes. Ethan's hand, under the table, squeezed mine, anchor in the tide. But storms don't scatter with one squall. Mark's call came weeks later, voice strained over static. Ethan, it's bad. Dad's in hospice. Come home. Grief's undertow pulled, but we packed together. My first flight, his hand steady through turbulence. New York gripped cold, the brownstone echoing hollow. Mark met us at the airport, hug awkward but real. Glad you're here. With him. Hospice was hushed horror, beeps and morphine haze. Dad's frame shrunken, eyes bright with apology. So, sorry for the silence. Ethan knelt, tears silent. It's okay, Dad. I love you. We stayed weeks, bridging chasms. Mom thawing over coffee, sharing letters she'd hidden, regrets penned in elegant script. Mark and I bonded over bad hospital coffee. His confession, I was jealous of your courage. Return brought healing's bloom. Ethan's book launch in San Francisco. Me in the front row, pride swelling as he read passages laced with our love. Sales surged, but sweeter. Dad's call post-event, voice thick, proud Javi. Real proud. Summer sealed it. A ring, simple gold band bought on a whim in Carmel, slipped on during a sunset sale. Forever, Ethan asked, eyes shimmering. Forever, I vowed, sealing with salt-kissed lips. Life's leaks persist. Arguments over deadlines, worries for Abuela's health, but we mend together, tools of trust and time. That sink still runs true, a monument to beginnings. And in quiet nights, his head on my chest, I whisper thanks to the stars for the call that came, the man who answered, the love that fixed us all. The echo of Dad's words, family's family, reverberated through the shop's oily air like a benediction I hadn't earned, leaving me dazed amid wrenches and waiting parts. Ethan had driven off with a wave that lingered in my rear view, wildflowers scent clinging to the seats, a promise of Sundays yet to come. But as I dove into a carburetor rebuild, grease blackening my nails, doubt crept in insidious as rust. What if it was too easy? Forgiveness a fragile weld, one twist from snapping. That night, alone with takeout and a baseball game flickering mute, the apartment's walls whispered recriminations. Tommy's memory resurfaced sharper, his laugh in the school parking lot, the rejection sting that had me enlisting in the family trade like a soldier fleeing battle. I'd built walls of routine, but Ethan was dynamite, blasting through with green eyes and gentle scars. My phone glowed with his text. Can't stop smiling. Your mom's tamales? Legendary. I replied, wait till Abuela's mole. Sweet dreams. Sleep evaded, mind-churning scenarios. Dad's probing questions, mom's side eyes, the town's whisper network snaking from harbor to hills. Pacific Grove was small. Secrets surfaced like driftwood after storms. Monday dawned relentless, jobs stacking like accusations. A sewer line in Pebble Beach for some Silicon Valley escapee, then a drip in Cannery Row's tourist trap. Lunch was a sandwich wolfed in the truck, radio warning of heat wave, air thick as unresolved tension. Ethan's call came mid-bite, voice bright. Lunch break? Quick coffee at the wharf. Camp buried. Lie tasted bitter, but fear spoke louder. Everything okay? Pause, intuition keen. Yeah, just. Processing. Talk tonight. Promise. The afternoon dragged. Sun baking asphalt to mirage, my thoughts boiling. By quitting time, guilt propelled me to his door, toolbox abandoned in the truck like shed armor. He opened barefoot, concern etching his brow, pulling me into a hug that smelled of pages and possibility. Spill, he said, leading me to the couch, knees bumping intimate. I exhaled, words tumbling. The fear of fracture, the weight of legacy, the terror that love like ours was borrowed time. He listened, hand on my knee steady, then leaned in, forehead to mine. We're not borrowing, Javier. This is ours, earned every kiss. His lips followed, soft persuasion, hands framing my face as if I were fragile. We moved to the bedroom slow, clothes shedding like doubts, bodies mapping reassurances in the lamplight's glow. His touch was reverent, fingers tracing tattoo, lips following collarbone, whispering here and here, all mine. Release came shuddering, a damn break of held breaths, leaving us tangled and tear-streaked. I love you, he murmured into my hair, first utterance raw as exposed wire. Love you too, I echoed, truth sealing us tighter. But love's forged temper slow. The heat wave peaked midweek, shop like a sauna, Dad's temper short as fuses. Focus, son, he barked during a team huddle, eyes flicking to my phone's glow, Ethan's photo, candid laugh lines crinkling. Sorry, I pocketed it, but the seed sprouted. His glance lingered, unspoken questions brewing. Friday brought reprieve. A rare day off, Ethan whisking me to Big Sur for escape. The highway clung to cliffs, ocean plummeting azure depths, redwoods arching cathedral-like. We hiked Pfeiffer Falls, mist kissing our skin, hands linked unashamed on the trail. At a secluded pool, we stripped to swimsuits, his board shorts hugging lean hips, my trunks battle-scarred from beach days past, and dove in, water shock-cold embrace. Laughter echoed as we splashed, then quieted to floats, bodies drifting close, legs tangling underwater. "You make me brave," I said, treading water, his eyes level with mine. "You make me whole." His kiss surfaced dripping, chlorine-sharp, leading us to the rocky bank where towels spread picnic-style. Love-making there was urgent, sun-dappled, his back arched against granite, my name a mantra on the wind. Panting aftermath, he traced my chest. "Marry me? Someday. Someday." The word bloomed, future's horizon. Someday. Return brought reality's chill, Dad's voicemail, family meeting. Important. Heart sinking, I arrived to find him at the kitchen table, Mom hovering, faces grave. "Sit, Javi." Paper spread. Invoices red inked, shops ledger bleeding. Business is down. Recession bite, folks cutting corners. We need to tighten. Hours. Maybe lay off Rico. Guilt lanced, my distractions the time stolen. I'll pick up slack. Overtime. He nodded, but eyes held more. "And this Ethan, he good for you?" "Yeah, real good." A beat. Then brings stability. Not just heart, head too. Message clear. Love fine, but legacy first. I nodded, throat tight, driving to Ethan's with resolve fracturing. He sensed it, dinner untouched. Talk. The shop's struggling. Dad's pressuring, focus, future. And us. Us is the future. But doubt shadowed, a third wheel uninvited. That night, intimacy faltered, kisses mechanical, bodies distant. "I'm scared," I admitted, ceiling staring back. "Me too." His hand found mine. "But scared together." Together. Saturday salvaged us. A volunteer build for Habitat Homes in Salinas. Hammers swinging solidarity. Ethan wielded a saw with surprising skill, dust-streaked grin infectious. While I plumbed lines, Dad overseeing from afar with a nod of approval when Ethan joked about fixing hearts next. Barbecue after bonded. Beers shared, stories swapped. Dad clapping Ethan's back. "Writer, huh?" Everpan a plumbing epic. Laughter eased tensions, but whispers followed. Town eyes on us. Judgments veiled as concern. Sunday storm, metaphoric, hit via Mark's email. Dad's chemo failed. Prognosis poor. Come if you can. Ethan paled, world tilting. "I have to go. I'm coming." No hesitation. Flight booked, bags packed hasty, his hand trembling in mine at the gate. "Thank you." Family's family. New York assaulted, slush and sirens, brownstones chill, seeping bones. Mark hugged tight, sister-in-law hovering awkward. Hospice visit crushed, Dad's eyes sunken, but lighting at Ethan's voice reading from his book, Passages of Redemption. We stayed fortnight, mending threads, Mom's tentative lunches, Mark's confessions over whiskey. I envied your freedom. Mine's all facade. Return healed slow. Ethan's launch a triumph. Me toasting proud amid literati. Dad's card arrived. Knew you had it in you. Autumn gilded edges, proposals someday nearing. A ring shop in Carmel, gold warmed by his palm. Ready, ready. Vows under stars, family encircling, love's leak sealed eternal. The ring's weight in my pocket felt like a talisman against the autumn chill creeping in from the bay, its simple band a circle of intent that grounded me amid the shop's clamor. Ethan had slipped it there that morning with a wink over coffee, his fingers lingering warm on mine. For luck, plumber, before heading to his desk, laptop humming with revisions. Now, as I torqued a bolt on a customer's SUV, the metal's cool kiss through denim reminded me. Someday was barreling toward now, freight train of forever. Dad noticed, of course, his eyes sharp as calipers during lunch break. Pastrami sandwich paused mid-bite. Something shining in your pocket. Me, Joe? Or just wishful thinking? I flushed, pulling it out, gold catching fluorescent glint. Ethan asked me last night. Said yes. He set the sandwich down, deliberate, face unreadable, a beat that stretched eternal. Then clapped my shoulder, grip firm as rebar. About time. He's a keeper. Wedding win. Shock rippled. Laughter bubbling relief. Spring? Small, beach, family. Mom would insist tamales, abuela novenas. Mark promised flights east. But joy tempered with the ledger's red. Shops dip persisting. Rico laid off last week, his farewell beer bitter as layoffs go. Focus on the fix, Dad said, echoing old wisdom. Loves the foundation, works the frame. Afternoon brought a call out to Asilomar, State Park bungalow with a seized pump, owner a retired prof with tales of tidal pools. As I bled air from lines, he prattled ecology, but my mind wandered to vows. Sand between toes, Ethan's eyes sea deep, promising storms weathered. Evening reunited us on the porch, salty. Our mutt, adopted post-storm, first salt-matted, chasing his tail manic. Ethan pulled me down beside him, ringbox open, band, glinting twin. Matched set. We slid them on solemn. Kisses ceiling, the world narrowing to us, waves and wagging joy. But idols fracture subtle. Ethan's agent called next on. Book deal expanded, tour dates stacking. Seattle, Portland, LA. It's huge, Javi. But 3 weeks away. Pride ward worry, shop leaning heavier on me. Dad's cough worsening, the heart attack shadow lingering. Go. Shine. He did. Airports swallowing him, texts bridging miles. Rainy Seattle misses your warmth. Love. I held fort. Overtime, bleeding into nights. Salty's wines greeting empty beds. Dad's checkup revealed arrhythmia. Pills prescribed. His gruff, I'm fine, unconvincing. Mid-tour, crisis. Burst main in the shop's bathroom, water geyser in chaos. I waded in, cursing, phone clutch dry. Ethan's video call amid suds. My hero. Home soon. Return was airport reunion. His hug, bone-crushing, kiss airport indiscreet, drawing stares we ignored. Homecoming lovemaking was reunion fire, bodies reclaiming territory, his moans mapping absence's ache. Winter bit gentle, holidays blending families. Our table groaning turkey and tamales. Mark toasting with uncharacteristic warmth, Abuela blessing rings with murmured prayers. Snowless California Christmas, but magic and lights strung porch side, salty decked in antlers ridiculous. New Year dawned resolutions, shop expansion, solar installs, green wave riding. Ethan's sequel brewing, chapters gifted me first read. But undercurrent stirred, town gossip peaking, a client snide heard about your arrangement during a faucet swap, words slimy as drained gunk. I vented to Dad over beers, his nod sage. Folks fear what they don't pipe. Let your work speak. It did. Referrals trickled from the prof. Word of that gay plumber whose magic with mains, ironically boosting books. Valentine's, Ethan planned surprise. Hot air balloon over the valley, dawn's gold gilding vineyards below. Baskets sway gentle, his arm around me. Whispers of forever amid burner roars. Scared, he teased, echoing our first night. Terrified, kiss stolen at altitude, hearts soaring tandem. Spring burgeoned wedding prep, venue snagged. Cliffside overlook, Cypress's sentinel. Invites winged east and local. Mom fretting flowers, Dad building an arch sturdy as vows. But fate's wrench turned. Abuela's fall, hip fractured, hospital sterile and stark. We rallied. Ethan reading to her in Spanish halting, me translating her firecracker stories. Marry soon, me Joe, she rasped, grip fierce. Life short as fuse. We did. Ceremony intimate. 50 souls under April sun. Ocean chorus. I waited at arch, heart thunder, as Ethan walked sand aisle, suit crisp, eyes locked mine. Vows simple. In leaks and loves, I choose you. Rins exchanat. Kishsid ermid chius. Sorti boirking franzi. Reception beach bonfire, toasts roasting gentle, dads. To pipes and pages, may they never clog. Dance floor sand scuffed, our slow sway to Springsteen. His head on my shoulder, husband. Words still magic. Honeymoon big Sur cabin. Days lost in hikes and nights in sheets. Bodies eternal students. Return to life refined. Shop thriving, sequel signed. Abuela home healing. Years layered. Salty's pups, Ethan's TED Talk, my solar certification. Storms came. Dad's bypass, books backlash from prudes, but we mended, stronger welds. Anniversary 10th, same overlook, rings renewed in surf's edge. Forever fixed? Forever. Love's not leak-free, but in its flow, we thrive. Stories into beginning, hearts plumbed true. The wedding band's eternal circle mocked the chaos of the shop's ledger that spring morning, gold glinting under the work light as I tallied invoices red as arterial spray. Ethan had kissed me goodbye at dawn, off to a signing in L, back by dinner love, his absence a hollow in the cab of my truck. Salty road, shotgun now, head out window, tongue lolling joy, but even his slobber couldn't wash the worry etching deeper. Dad's cough persistent, Abuela's rehab dragging, and whispers from suppliers about tightening belts. First call, urgent leak in a Monterey Victorian. Owner a harried chef with kitchen nightmares. I arrived to water sheeting floors, pots adrift like ships in storm. Save me, he pleaded, accent thick French. Tools out. I traced the culprit, cracked elbow joint under the island, water jetting defiant. Salty lapped puddles unhelpful, drawing a reluctant chuckle. As I soldered new, sweat beating, phone buzzed. Ethan's text, photo of signing crowd. Miss your grease smudges. Grin tugged despite drip in my eye. Reply, saving French cuisine. Home from Ole, always. Fix complete, chef's tip generous. You're a wizard, but drive back wound through doubts. Could we weather this squeeze? Shop's solar pivot promising, but cash flow lagged. Dad's hold steady mantra thin comfort. Afternoon brought alliance unexpected. Mark, in town for business, read. Reconciliation tour. Dropped by unannounced, suit crisp against our oil-stained bays. Javier, heard about the shop. Thought I'd lend a hand. Skepticism flared. City boy with briefcases? But he rolled sleeves, handing tools with surprising competence. Tales of frat house repairs bonding us over coolant flushes. Ethan's lucky, he said, wiping brow. You ground him. Mutual. Glimpse of brother mending, scars fading. Evening reunion. Ethan home dusty from highway, arms full groceries, ingredients for mole, his attempt at Abuela's recipe. Kitchen alchemy. Child's toasting, chocolate melting dark, salty underfoot hopeful. We stirred tandem, hips bumping playful, tension easing in steam's curl. Dinner, camel at porch, mole rich as earth, his foot hooking mine under table. Tour was triumph. Fans quoting lines about you, anonymous plumber hero. Laughter warmed, but post-meal, as Salty snored, I confessed ledgers. Tight. Might need loan. His hand still mine. We. Our future. Tap savings. I've got advance. Relief mingled gratitude. Kiss deepening to bedroom promise. Body's familiar terrain. His gasps charting love's map anew. But fortune's valve sticks. Week's end dad collapsed mid-shift. Chest clutch, face ashen. Ambulance wail, ER, fluorescent hell. Tests, tubes, diagnosis. Bypass needed, valve replacement irony not lost. Ethan arrived breathless from signing. Grip anchor as surgeon explained risks. He's tough, I whispered, tears hot. Navy stock, he agreed, echoing dad's tales. Vigil blurred. Mom's rosary clicks, Abuela's bedside prayers. Mark flying again, hand on my shoulder, silent solidarity. Surgery dawn gray, waiting room purgatory, Ethan's thumb circling my wedding band mantra-like. Hours stretched, then surgeon emerged. Success. Stable. Wave crashed relief, family huddle tear salted. Dad woke groggy, first words, don't. Cancel wedding. We hadn't. Postponed only, now rescheduled Summercliff side. Recovery wove us tighter. Ethan ferrying meals, me nights at hospital, shop Rico managing interim. Suppliers eased with March connections, family discount. He winked, cash flow trickling green. June bloomed vows. Archdad built pre-surgery. Sturdy oak, cypresses framing sea vista. Guests mingled. Mom's cousins from L.A., Ethan's agent flamboyant, town skeptics softened by tamales. Abuela wheeled front row, eyes bright. Ethan's approach sand slow, suit linen light, smile sun. Vows wind whispered. Through leaks and launches, I'm mend with you. Ring slid, kiss salt sweet, cheers crashing wave-like. Honeymoon postponed practical. Cabin weekend instead, Big Sur's Redwoods Cathedral, days trail-worn, nights fire-lit intimacies. Return invigorated. Shop solar installs booming. Clients praising the couple who fixed our eco-plumbing. Ethan's sequel poured. Chapters laced our trials. Valves of the heart. Autumn harvested bounty. Dad's rehab jogs beachside. Abuela dancing wedding video loops. Mark visited holidays. Niece toddling, calling us Uncle Javi and Unca F. But winter's norther howled literal. Gale, snapping lines. Outages blacking coast. Shop generator hummed. Us volunteering repairs. Homes flooded, elders isolated. One night, post-blackout fix, elderly widow grasped my arm. You too. Light and dark. Bless you. Ethan's arm around me, porch return. Heroes. Team. Spring sequel launch packed house. Local bookstore brimming. Me front row beaming as he read bypass-inspired passage. Mending what's vital. Q&A turned personal. Inspiration? Fan asked. He glanced my way, eyes soft. The man who fixed more than sinks. Applause thundered, my heart fuller. Summer anniversary. Cliff revisit. Salty, gray-muzzled chasing ghosts. Rings dipped ocean, renewed wet. Still scared. Less. With you. Love's narrative arcs, not ends. Leaks appear, but tools ready, hands joined. That first sink? Relic now, but symbol. From drip to deluge of life, shared, forever flowing. The summer sun baked the cliffside overlook into a golden memory etched deep, but autumn's cooling breath brought new pressures. The shop's expansion humming with promise and peril. Ethan and I had returned from our belated honeymoon. 2 weeks in a Carmel cottage, days lost in tide pools, nights to symphony of surf and sighs. Tanned and tangled, Salty's barks greeting us home like fanfare. Yet the ledger's black ink steadied, solar panels gleaming on rooftops from Monterey to Moss Landing, Dad's bypass scars fading to silver lines of survival. Morning's ritual. Coffee shared porchside, his laptop open to SQL drafts, my blueprint spread for next install. Panels angled optimal, wires dreaming green grids. This one's for the old lighthouse, I'd say, tracing lines, and he'd nod, weaving it into prose, beacons mended, lovers light. But idols erode subtle as beach glass. Ethan's publisher pushed expansions, podcast, speaking circuit, dates clashing my site supervisions. One October Eve, post-LA return, he collapsed couchward, jet-lagged hollow. Missed you. Tour's glamour, but empty without your grease. I pulled him close, kissed tasting airport coffee. Miss your ink stains. Bedroom beckoned, bodies reconnecting fervent. His nails raking back, my lips mapping freckles. Release a reclamation. Post-glow, whispers turned worries, circuits grueling. Skip Seattle. Can't contract. Guilt flickered his eyes. Salty. Go. We'll sink. Winter solstice brought storm season savage. Swells pounding, wind shearing solar mounts. Emergency calls surged, panels battered, families dark. We teamed, me climbing rigs, Ethan coordinating donations, generator loans for shop stock. One gale lash night, fixing a widow's rig in Pacific Grove. Lightning cracked peril close, his voice radio crackling. Hobby down. Now, I rap held safe, heart hammering, his hug harbor. Don't scare me like that. Wouldn't dream. Christmas blended joys. Dad carving turkey hail, Abuela stories spiced rum. Mark's family video call, nieces, uncles, glee. Gifts practical, his annotated Austin set. My custom toolkit engraved E+J forever. New Year resolution, balance, his tour capped. My hires expanded, date nights mandated. Wharf walks, salty leash bound, hands linked unapologetic. Spring bloomed, sequel release. Launch party, our beach house transformed. String lights twinkling, platters mole and merlot. Guests mingled. Agent schmoozing, Dad toasting to stories that stick like solder. Abuela quizzing fans on plots. Ethan read excerpt. Our lighthouse, mended love. Voice cracking emotion, my eyes front pride title. Signings followed frenzy, but we carved couple dom. Anniversary eve, recreating first date tacos. Porch swing creaking memory. 10 years, he marveled, ring twirling. Best fix ever. Summer's heat, wave tested. Drought parching panels inefficient, clients grumbling. Dad's doc warned arrhythmia flare, rest ordered. I shoulder more, nights blurring, Ethan's concern lines deepening. You're burning out. Can't stop. Snap sharper than mitt. He recoiled, hurt flashing. We're team, remember? Silence festered, first real rift. Arguments escalating. His selfish tours, my obsessive work. Door Schlemsch echoed, Schulte whining mediator. Cool off came Mark's visit. Neutral ground, brother diffusing with tales east, niece's chaos distracting. Over barbecue, he pulled me aside. Fights forge, don't fracture. Dad taught that, bypass bonds. Wisdom sank. Apology texted Ethan mid-afternoon. Home. Talk. Porch wait tense, his arrival hug tentative then tight. Sorry. Feared losing us to grind. Me too. Balance, promise. Reconciliation, slow burn. Counseling sessions, Harborview. Therapist probing love languages. His words, my acts. Homework. Weekly unplug. Hikes, no phones. Fall healed. Panels upgraded, drought tough. Shop thriving. Ethan's awards piling. Lambda nod for sequel's queer heart. Abuela's 90th beach bash. Wheelchair throne. Her toast. Love's the best medicine. No side effects. Winter whispered change. Ethan's fertility talk tentative. Kids? Someday. My nod eager. Adoption paths explored. Spring's rainbow. Papers filed. Home study passed. Match. Toddler boy. Eyes wide wonder. Named Luca after my grandfather. First day's chaos. Nappies. Night feeds. Salty guardian gentle. Ethan rocked lullabies. I built crib sturdy. Family rallied. Dad's abuelo now. Mom's blankets crocheted. Parenting plumbed new depths. Joys exponential. Exhaustion's exponential squared. Luca's first steps beach sand. Our hands guiding. Tears salt mingled. Years layered patina. Luca's school plays. Ethan's professorship local college. My franchise solar. Shops sprouting south. Storms persisted. Luca's coming out at 16. Our arms open echo. Dad's passing peaceful. Legacy in panels powering homes. Vigil then. Family circle. Ethan's hand mine. He fixed us all. Anniversary 20th. Cliff anew. Luca grown, efficient joking. Salty successor pup yipping. Vows renewed. Ocean witness. Through every leak, every launch, love endures. It does. Stories are complete, but chapters infinite. Hearts forever mended. The patina of years on our rings caught the winter light filtering through the kitchen window, casting prisms on the table where Luca's crayon drawings sprawled like abstract maps of his 5-year-old dreams. Ethan stirred oatmeal slow, humming a tune from his latest lecture playlist, while I wrestled salty successor, a wiry shepherd mix named Drift, away from Luca's dangling spoon. Easy boy, I murmured, the dog's tail thumping forgiveness. 20 years married, and mornings still felt like grace, messy, vital hours. But Legacy's weight pressed anew that January. Dad's absence a hollow in the shop's office where his chair sat empty, ledger now mine to helm. The franchise had bloomed, outlets in Santa Cruz, San Luis, but competition nipped, big box chains undercutting, clients swayed by flash over fidelity. Ethan's college gig steadied, tenured prof of creative writing, mentoring queers like he'd once been, but grants dried, adjuncts whispered cuts. Luca's kindergarten chatter pierced fog. Daddy Javi, story time. Papa's book? Ethan ruffled his curls. After breakfast, Champ, the one with the plumber prints. Giggles erupted, Drift joining chorus. I kissed them both, Ethan's lips coffee warm, Luca's cheeks sticky, before grabbing keys. Sight in Carmel. Home by 6. Promise. His eyes held the old spark, tempered gold. Drive wound coastal. Radio news droning tariffs on panels, supply chain snarling. First stop, Eco Mansion retrofit. Owner a tech mogul with eco-anxieties. Make it sing, he barked, yacht bobbing Harborview. Crew bustled. Wires snaking, mounts torque tight, but snag hit. Faulty inverter, recall hush corporate. Swap it. I ordered delay looming. Phone buzzed. Ethan's text, Luca's photo, finger painting rainbow, our artist. Grin amid grease. Reply, Solar King today. Love you both. Afternoon salvaged but return late, dusk purple, dinner reheated lasagna. Luca comped post story, drift curled footy pajama guard. Kitchen cleanup tandem, suds flying playful. Rough day, Ethan asked, drying plate. Snags. You. Grant denied. Again. Sigh heavy, but smile faint. Luca's rainbows help. Hug from behind, chin his shoulder. We'll pivot. Always do. Bedtime whispers turned intimate. Hands exploring familiar, bodies sinking effortless, his gasp my favorite melody. Still my fix, he breathed, release shared soft. Spring thawed tensions. Grant resubmitted, shops pivot to battery storage. Resilience against blackouts, clients flocking post-gale. Luca's school play. Cast his tree in the giving cypress, drew full house. Abuela front row, cackling directions. Mark video calling applause. Summer's heat tested. Drought redux, panels thirsting efficiency. We volunteered water audits, Ethan penning op-eds on coastal care, me installing rain harvests. One sweltering fix, elder couple's home. Grandpa stories of 60s activism. You boys remind me of us. Gift beyond pay. Vintage wrench, engraved bend but don't break. Fall's harvest. Ethan's memoir announced. Our story, veiled fiction, sinks and souls. Advanced cushion grants, launch buzz electric. But October shadow. Luca's fever spiked post-playground, cough lingering. Pediatrician poked, tests ordered, breathy precaution. Night's vigil. Cool cloths, story marathons, Ethan's voice horse reading. Results came dawn call. Asthma mild. Inhaler prescribed. Relief crashed. Tears saline as sea. Scared me. I admitted, Luca napping between us. Us. Quiche forids dandum. Winter wove resilience. Memoirs acclaim. Reviews praising Queer Love's quiet revolutions. Book tour mini. Me tagging weekends. Luca with Abuela adventures. Anniversary 25. Intimate cliffside anew. Luca efficient earnest 8-year-old vows. Papa and Daddy. Forever teams. Rings ocean dipped. Love's tide eternal. Aging crept graceful. Ethan's glasses thicker. My knees creakier climbs. But passions undimmed. His lectures fiery. My installs innovative. Luca's soccer goals cheered loudest. Storms evolved. Luca's teen crushes. Our guidance open. Franchise sale partial. Security net. Abuela's passing serene. Stories legacy in Luca's journal. Mark's visits ritual. Now with partner quiet architect. Fitting our fold. Climax gentle. Retirement whispers. Ethan's sabbatical book. My mentorship program. Queering trades. Final chapter unwritten. But arc bends hopeful. Love's not endpoint, but endless mend. Sinks to souls. Forever flowing true.